is a video all about why Asperger Syndrome relationships can be had. Here are 3 reasons why. All that's coming up. Hey guys, welcome back to the Aspie World. My name is Dan. I have Asperger Syndrome, ADHD, OCD and dyslexia, and I make weekly videos on this type of content. So if you're new around here and you'd like to learn more about this subject, remember to hit that subscribe button by clicking the notification bell down below. And if you're watching over on Facebook, be sure to give this page a like and follow to see more videos just like this one every week. If you're watching on Instagram TV, make sure to give this account a follow to see daily autism content from me. Guys, what's going on? Awesome, good video today. I love doing this type of video because I feel like people get the most out of these videos. And if you haven't already, make sure to download my free Autism Life Hacks PDF, which will be available at autismhacks.net. Links will be in the description and everywhere around here if you need to get it, but I'll put the actual web address on the screen. What is up, guys? Welcome back, where we think differently daily. What's up, different thinkers? Cool video. I want to do a video on relationships because I get a lot of questions from people asking about relationships and, you know, what does it all mean and yada yada. And so I was like, okay, I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll do a video all about autism and relationships. Okay, so let's just clear something up. That Asperger Syndrome is now actually called just autism spectrum disorder. Asperger Syndrome was moved into the autism spectrum disorder umbrella because Asperger Syndrome was an unusual term to use when it's just autism and makes life just a lot easier. Okay, so I am in a relationship. I've been in a relationship with my girlfriend now for like 11 years, almost 12 years, and we have a son and everything. We live together and stuff like that, and so I thought it'd be a really cool video to do, a video talking about reasons why autism relationships can be had, and with like three kind of like facts and stuff about why it'll be hard. Because I feel like if we know why relationships can be challenging and difficult, then we may be able to create these solutions for it, or at least see the error in our ways, if that makes sense. I don't know. So hopefully this video it resonates with you. If it does, please give this video a thumbs up. Let me know if you like this type of video. That'd be super awesome. And if you have anything to add, just pop it in a comment down below, because I read every single comment and that would be super, super dope. Okay, cool. So the first one is emotional communication issues. Now, people on the autism spectrum have major issues with communicating their emotions and their feelings to another person. You know, and this creates a lot of difficulties, especially when you're in romantic relationships. Because a relationship needs to be open, and that flow of communication needs to stay open, and you need to express how you feel about things and how they feel about things back to you, because you need to understand each other. It's part of, you know, a relationship and who you are in that relationship and that relationship as a whole. So in terms of people on the autism spectrum, because autism is a communication issue, it impacts the brain and the brain's ability to communicate with certain things around them. It is a difficult thing for people on the autism spectrum to deal with, and so how they communicate their emotions may be completely vastly different to the average person or the typical person who says, oh, you know, I'm feeling like this, blah, blah, blah. It's difficult for people on the autism spectrum to do this. So I feel like this is probably one of like the #1 reason why there may be tension of unknown tension within relationships with people on the autism spectrum, because just knowing what the other person is emotionally feeling at that moment in time, not being able to communicate that could be quite distressing. If you know what I mean, like, you know, it could be quite difficult. So yeah, there's the first one. Okay, so #2 is empathy. Now, I'm not saying that autistic people don't have empathy, but in the format and the text that I'm talking about here, the ability to understand how another person is feeling, like putting yourself in their shoes, is difficult for someone on the autism spectrum to get just like that. Because a lot of people say, to typical people would say, think about how the other person's feeling, put yourself in their shoes. And somebody could just do it like that really, really quickly just by thinking about their situation. But people on the autism spectrum don't have that ability to instantly just think about that other person's situation from their point of view or their perspective. It has to kind of be something that you take a little bit of time to understand and nurture that thought process and think about it. So having empathy for other people's feelings in certain moments and certain situations within relationships is difficult and can cause excessive tension, because if someone's upset about something that you've done, then you would never be able to understand why they're upset about it if you can't place yourself in their life, on their shoes or their situation for a certain amount of time, right? You get what I'm on about. So this is why I find that having, you know, empathy issues within a relationship can cause a lot of stress, but there are ways around it. I guess you could just tell that person to explain to you how they feel, and then they would be able to tell you how they feel rather than you having to guess from being in their shoes, because, you know, it is difficult for people to do. And so for obvious reasons, relationships can be hard for anybody if they're having difficulties with empathy in that kind of respect. Now, #3 is an interesting one. This is short-term memory. Now, look, it's no new finding that people on the autism spectrum have like memory issues, right? And short-term memory issues. They have really good like long-term memory, but short-term memory issues are really common within autism spectrum. Now, this can cause huge issues within a relationship when trying to remember small things that make relationships a working partnership. Like maybe you forget that your partner likes the remote controls for the TV in a certain area, and then you'll forget about that. Or they say, can you just remember to switch that light off before going out? But because of short-term memory thing, you forget. And these small things could upset them because they said like, hey, could you do this for me? And then you didn't, but not on purpose. You're not trying to upset them, but it's just that you did it because you have short-term memory issues. Like I've come across this many a time, and it is annoying. And I wish I didn't have short-term memory issues. I wish I could just be like, oh, okay, cool, this is awesome. But it doesn't always work like that. And because of that, because of those issues, I feel like there's a lot of tension that gets put onto people's relationships. You know, when you're on the autism spectrum and you have just these three factors, I mean, this is just a small snapshot. These are just three factors of why a relationship is difficult for people on the autism spectrum. When you add in relationships in general, your own stuff going on in life, you got your work, you got maybe school and stuff, it just becomes this whole thing. Like this, it can be difficult, but don't give up on it. It doesn't mean that relationships are going to fail just because there's issues in a relationship. Not at all. All I'm doing is highlighting where areas that could be improved upon. I'm not highlighting areas to say that this is doomed. Not at all. Relationships can be strong. I know loads of people who are married with children and you know all kinds of different relationships that autistic people are in, and they have great relationships and they've married for years and years, and it's absolutely fine. There's no issues there. There's nothing that goes against it. It doesn't mean that you can't do it. It just means that there's a factor in the matter. Now, if you think that this video could help somebody, please share it on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and give it a thumbs up. Leave me a comment if you'd like to add anything, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.